There we go. A little better. Now you can hear me. Welcome back. This is the week to come, your weekly outlook. Now, over the weekend, there was a lot of news that came in, and we're going to cover it in just a bit. But first of all, a little disclaimer. This content is for educational purpose only and is not financial advice. Do your own research before making any investment decisions. Trade at your own risk. Mahalo. Now, over the weekend, there was a lot of different things that came in. We're going to start off with what happened, let's say, yesterday. So, over the weekend here locally, Mary Monarch was going, and that went off really well. Lots of people still got there, even though the storms caused a bit of dismay at the airports. It's always a fun time of year for us to be able to watch our culture just be put on huge display and see the talent and the passion that still exists for that. It was one of the first few times my son was cognizant enough to be able to see it, so that was really inspiring for me to watch. And hey, maybe he would want to try Kanehula one day as well. But on a world stand front, J.D. Vance, the vice president, he went to the Middle East to strike a deal. And as far as I know, that deal didn't go through. And it seems that it escalated the problem just a bit more. Now, if you've been following the podcast at all, literally all we've been talking about is oil and energy and how that's affecting the overall markets that we trade. Unfortunately, that news hasn't changed, and we got a bit of a reprieve, and then it turned right around. So now we're here back, just trading a little bit sideways. We'll go into how the S&P 500 opened up overnight, as well as how some of the futures opened up overnight as well. But here's some other important news. 15 hours ago, as of TKL. Please follow them. Subscribe if you can. They are the fastest way to get your information. President Trump says the U.S. Navy will begin blockading any and all ships trying to enter or leave the Strait of Hormuz. Any Iranian who fires at us or at peaceful vessels will be blown to hell. Okay. U.S. oil prices have now expected to surge above $115 a barrel this month as U.S.-Iran talks fail, and President Trump announces a blockade on the Strait of Hormuz. That implies a 21% move on oil from Friday's closing price. Now, this was before the markets opened. You can sort of guess where this is going if you've been paying attention. President Trump on oil prices. The price of oil and gas could be lower before the midterm elections, or maybe a little higher. Frankly, gas prices haven't gone up as much as I thought they would. Now, the futures have already opened up, and if you're already trading and you already have seen the futures open up overnight, this is not going to be a surprise to you. But for people who aren't keeping up with the news, let's keep going. All right, so here's some big events this week. Since it's here on the here on my screen, I'm gonna bring it up at the moment. So the markets have already reacted to how it's gonna go with the blockade. We're gonna get to that in just a little bit. March existing home data sales is tomorrow or today, depending on where you are. March PPI inflation data, Tuesday. Philly Fed Manufacturing Index, Thursday. Initial jobless claims data, Thursday. 10 Fed speaker events this week. Today marks the day. Today also marks day 44 of the Iran war. Thank you to the Kobayashi letter. Honestly, I could not trade without them during this crisis. Let's see what else we got here. I hope your guys' weekend is going well. On a home front, before the rain started coming in again today, I got a chance to mow my lawn, and my God, it looks so good. It's hard to get out there and sometimes do the yard work, but once it's done, you just feel so good about it. So get out there. I got a little bit of grass to touch, and honestly, it feels good. I'm really inspired for the week. U.S. trucking rates are the highest since mid 2022. That's something to look out for. Here in Hawaii, we don't have to worry too much about trucking, but things have to get trucked to the boats, right? So it still matters to us. Gold ETFs saw historic outflows in March across every region. Global gold ETFs posted 4.3 billion in outflows in the week ending March 27th, the second largest on record, only below negative 2.4 billion seen the prior week. Oof. Well, we're going to see how gold futures did. As you can see, this is not it's not boding well. And you can see the scene that I'm trying to put out here. It seems a little bit on the reddish side. U.S. military says will begin its Strait of Hormuz blockade tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. All right. Now, let's get into how the actual markets did. Now, as the markets opened up, the future markets opened up hours ago for me and for you. Right now, it's about 7:45 p.m. Hawaii time, and the S&P 500 opened a few hours ago in the futures, down 1% on the S&P 500, the NASDAQ 100 down 1.3%, Dow Jones down 1%, the crude up 10%, Brent crude oil up 8.5%, and natural gas up 2%. Now, if you've been following along, you know I have a pretty sizable position in natural gas. It's my energy play. I like that. I like that energy. It makes sense to me, so that's why I invest in natural gas, amongst other things. But so that's great for me, because the position I'm in is Venture Global. VG is the ticker. Not investment advice, just an observation. And this is going to be good for me because it came down sharply, just like the markets did as well. It kind of made a bit of a gap. Let's get into that. Actually, we'll show how the chart worked out. Here, let's transition over. All right, here we go. So as you can see, when the futures did open a few hours ago, it tested 160. That would be incredibly crazy, 160. It tested 660.75. And then it retraced back basically right after to 674. But as you can see, there's a pretty large gap candle, whatever you want to call it, that's roughly the same size. As you can see, it started here, left, like the markets are hungry for a return. Now, I'm not a bear by nature, but at this point I'm a little bit bearish by force, because there's a lot of things going on that I, for one, cannot control my way out of. There's the market's not back, so there's not a whole lot of ways for me to escape the turmoil, no matter if I wanted to size down or put it somewhere else, right? You just kind of sit on your hands and you take the wins as they come. So because this was a bit of a rip, and now we're going to come back down to this sort of 651 maybe, who knows? Like, it wants to test this area here. I'm going to bring the charts out a bit farther, and then we can check it on the bigger scale. It's nice that the rain has stopped here. It was not easy to mow the lawn today. If you follow me on X, there was a post earlier, the creativity I had to use to finish mowing the lawn. I just couldn't honestly, I just couldn't just leave it halfway done. if you're bored and you end up going in that direction, just take a look at the nonsense that I pulled off today. Here we go. So we're backing up. Okay. So this is a long time span, right? We are up here. Boop. What I'm looking at, please state. Okay. Once the computer wants to help me. Here we go. So you see this gap here where there's no candle. If you've been trading long enough, you know what I'm about to talk about. But if you haven't, this is a large space that just wants to be filled up, for less of a technical term, right? If we go back even just a little bit back here to October, there was a big space, and then over the days or weeks, it came back and filled that space, right? Came back, right? So this is our gap up. Now there's a natural tendency to fill that gap. I'm saying like 75% chance it's going to go back and try to fill this space. And as you saw on the chart earlier, they tried to test that low 660 area, right? So we're in a bit of a sketchy place right now, right? We're not back by any stretch. We are not out of the straight. We have not figured out the situation, even down to the mines. If you were following me a month ago when this started, this has been 44 days I've been covering this. The second they said mines, they're going to put out mines, I knew we were going to be here for at least a couple of months. Because mines are very difficult to find, and that is the problem they're having now. They want to take them out, but they have no idea where they are. And that is a huge problem for the entire world. Because even when the trade talks are done, we still need to find a way to get rid of all those mines. So it's still going to be a while till we come back, and my bullish sentiment is diminishing, for lack of a better term. But back to this gap. So this gap wants to fill back up. So I'm expecting something somewhere about here. Now I'm going to pull up some rudimentary drawings, but I drew this a while back, right? So we left this line, this red line, right? We left this line. Like we came down, we followed exactly the way I wrote it down, basically. We came up, I thought it was going to test it. It didn't, it left, right? So I kind of had a second thought it was going to bounce off of here and go up there. But apparently it wanted to test this red line, this kind of 6-3 area. I still have some puts out for this. I don't know. Honestly, I want it to be done, but look how violent this downswing was and upswing. We have a chance to, hey, maybe bounce off this 7-1, but we saw how the charts were looking. It wants to kind of bounce off at least here, but there's nothing here really. I mean, there's this, but is this a support? Maybe not. I don't know. But if it is, then we'll bounce off of there and leave. And maybe we'll bounce off of the 7-3 and leave. And I'm being overly bearish, but I'm not cutting my hedges anytime soon. So we're going to keep our eyes open, because even on the prediction market, it's still pretty high that we get down to this range. 50-50 even to get to 630 this year. Now, the midterms are still coming too. So we got a crisis going on. Maybe they're going to melt together and then we're going to get out of it. But if we combine this with the way midterms tend to affect the markets, it's not going to bode well for anybody. So I'm expecting us to not really be out of this place yet. Right, so I'm going to zoom out a bit. Boop, boop. And we're going to go back. We're going to go to somewhere over here. Right, this was back in the last time we kind of were in a bit of a, I think it was a trade crisis. Honestly, the news comes out so much, I can't 100% remember what the heck was going on. But we dipped, we almost came back, and then we fell, and then tried to get out and fell, and then we came back, right? We might end up with something just as large, right? This is a pretty decent size dip and then return, right? We are only about, even for me, like back of the napkin looking at it, it's only about half that distance. And this crisis is a bit more problematic than that one was. That one they wrote off. We still haven't figured out the tariffs yet. I mean, that's a whole nother episode. Tariffs are still on the table. We still haven't figured that out to keep it really simple. But back up here. No, other way. Right, so we still have some retracing to do, right, in this direction. So we're going to have to keep our eyes on that. Now let's check I wonder if the VIX pulls up overnight. Now I primarily trade on my phone because I hang out with my son a lot. So sometimes I can't really see the difference or see how the charts work differently on my phone than on the computer. But, oh wow, this works out really well overnight, actually. This is on the day. Doesn't matter. But we were talking about the VIX the other day. And as you can see, I drew a bit of a trumpet here. And it bounced off here, went up a bit, and then that was it. It was done. It broke back down, and we're kind of in a manageable volatility area. But it doesn't mean we're not going to still try to test this white line again, right? So, I mean, that's still 24 on the VIX. So we could see some more bloodshed this week. And because of the overall crisis still not being remotely fixed, this week's volatility is probably going to test that 24, 26. Who knows? We might even get something real stupid in the markets, and we test the 27 again. I would doubt we're going to get anywhere near back to this 32 area. The markets have seemed pretty apathetic the last couple weeks or so, right? Once we were kind of done, we were just kind of like, forget it. We're just going to manage from here. You guys figure it out, and we'll get on with our merry way. All right, let's check the Bitcoin price. Now, if I don't know if any of you guys watched or I don't know if you watched the Masters, but Rory McIlroy took it again. There's only been maybe a handful and a half of people who have taken the green jacket 2 years in a row. Congratulations, mate. Great job. It got a little bit hairy there at the end too. Like I said the other day, I didn't have any skin in the game here. I wanted to kind of watch it uninhibited by the stress of loss, right? And my God, what a miraculous show! All of the players, congratulations to the Kalshi traders who predicted the overall win. All right, so back to here we go, Bitcoin price. So we're still out of the we're underneath that orange box that I've been drawing, that I basically looked at for months, right? Once it kind of broke through here, I knew we were going to kind of stay in this range because this is the kind of major support area we had back in 2024. So we're kind of at that support area, and you can see, right, how long we were in that area. So we could very well be there here, again, for just as long before we end up making our way to new highs. So it's a good time to collect and pick up more over the next who knows how many months. Just go at it a little bit at a time, right? Right now is not necessarily a time to be bullish, but right now is a good time to feel kind of safe about it. It's kind of in the middle here. It's not been oversold, overbought. It's just kind of sideways, right? So Bitcoin's got a chance to come back. Excuse me, wrong one. All right, let's check the crude oil futures. And we're still well within our original drawings. Right? So the retracement is still very much in play, right? It never left any of this area, right? It tested this 77, it tested this 119, and now we're still well within that area. And overnight, it opened up to, we're at 104, 30, 31, 32 is where it's trading at overnight. And that's not good for us locally because we are already seeing elevated oil prices. And as I've been saying, it's not going to come down anytime soon for you and I. So I want this to be better. But as you can see, the markets don't see it better quite yet. So just consider other ways to protect your capital. If there's ways you can just save a little bit here and there. I don't see this coming down at least for another maybe week and a half. Not quite sure how the blowing affected your ears there, excuse me. But I don't expect it to come down for a little while. But we are getting a bit of a head and shoulders. And if you're new to trading, it's sort of what it sounds like, right? You get a one bump here, and then you leave, and it kind of creates what would be the head, right? And then it comes back down, and then now it looks like it wants to kind of create another shoulder. And that what that tells me is roughly this same amount of time span, so roughly about here, April 20th or so, 420. Yeah, we might get a return somewhere about 420 down to this. We're going to probably test $77, and then test maybe 86, and then maybe revert to a means of some sort. And even in like kind of drawing out of the air here, we're looking at somewhere about mid-May. Now, statistically, May is a good month for traders and the stock market, so we see decent size gains through May. So if I want to be bullish, we'll be done by the 1st of May, May Day, Lay Day in Hawaii, and then we're going to be on our way down on the crude oil prices and back up on the stock market. So that's something to look forward to. Now, expectations for the week. I want to be optimistic, but that hasn't... I mean, I've been optimistic for how long? The last how many weeks? You and I have been watching this, and it's just not been coming down. So I'm going to keep my optimism in check and keep my realism in full view. So expectations for the week are pretty neutral to bearish, right? Volatility is definitely going to pick up. I don't expect any major changes that's going to completely change the trajectory of the market and how things are doing. Like I said earlier, there's a bit of a gap that we're dealing with. Don't forget about the Fed events that are coming up this week. That's still very much in play for the markets. It does increase the volatility. I personally am probably going to sit on my hands a little bit just because this week has got the overall massive gap up on crude oil, massive gap down and retest of the S&P. Like that 660 is just itching to come back, right? So if you're bullish right now, I hope you're right. I'm in conservation of capital mode, right? I'm going to hedge. I'm going to take profits because we all got bills to pay, right? This is my job. This is your job, right? You got long-term investors. Right now, just keep buying a little bit. Wait a week, buy a little bit more. Then ignore it. I'm seeing posts of people who have friends or and relatives who just buy once every 6 months and then never look at it. They never buy. They never look at the price. They never really care. That's some of the best ways to trade, if it's not your job. But for me, who make an income off of this, it's important that I stay vigilant. But because of that, I get to kind of share that information with you, and hopefully you can make better, more educated decisions on how you trade. All right, let's double check on anything that came up overnight. China has vast economic interest in the Middle East. Chinese investment in and construction in the region total more than 269 billion, right? So there's a vetted interest there. So keep your eyes open for the connections that we'll see through the rest of this crisis if things start to continue to get squeezed. So as my trading week goes, as I'm looking at it overnight and trying to get a good, temperature on how I want to run my trades this week. I don't want to be too bullish or bearish. Maybe do a little bit of volatility trading, right? Some spikes, buy some puts, or spikes down, buy some calls. But keep it simple, I think would be a good thing this week. Also, since we're coming back down a bit, maybe a dollar cost average into your favorite positions. I know Robinhood is down overnight, so it's starting to look more and more delicious over time to pick up more. But I'm gonna hold a little bit. I'm gonna wait. I'm not gonna add into my Robinhood position yet. I'm gonna kind of keep my eye open for maybe one more 65 or 60 opportunity to pick up and load the boat a little bit more on Robinhood, because they're getting a little bit squashed more on the being connected to Bitcoin. But even the other day, like I posted that like it decoupled from Bitcoin when it was a little bit on the bullish side. It went up to like 72, 73,000, but like Robinhood was like nothing. Nothing. I was like, and then Bitcoin started to come down, and then Hood comes down. And I was like, okay, so you want to take the down, but you don't want to. You don't want to ride the high. It was just so funny to watch. It doesn't matter anyway. It's just more of entertaining to watch how the markets move your portfolio. And so RVI is still doing really well. Speaking of Robinhood exposure, tertiary Robinhood exposure. These are private companies, but Robinhood Ventures Fund 1 is still doing really well through this market. It's still above MNAV or NAV price, and that's not very much, but it's still above it, above 25, or above 25.31, excuse me. So that's still really good for everybody. And the fact that it's still doing really well through this market is just top notch. On that front, there's a if you know and you're already invested, Ramp is one of the companies inside of the Robinhood Ventures Fund, right? So if you're not aware yet, or we're going to talk about it right now, Ramp has just a unbelievable amount of AI and AI agent exposure in their company. They are like almost all AI agents. Like the automation coming out of AI as is just, I mean, honestly, I'm having a hard time keeping up, and I'm watching this every day because I'm having to learn something new almost every other day, maybe even every other hour. I have to learn something new. But as an investor in RVI, it's my job to watch how Ramp moves, for lack of a better term. But Ramp is just like here, Ramp Labs is just demolishing their goals altogether. Like they're going to be a huge powerhouse of an AI company, and they're still on the top 10 companies to watch in 2026. Let's see what else kind of updates we got. Oh, look how that's really nice. Wow, I wonder if that's real. Yeah, it's the kind of the problem we have with AI now, huh? Is that real? I'm honestly too afraid to ask. Let's real? We'll find out. All right. What is this? It's a fortune cookie. Oh, ship code, not receipts. Yeah, code is much lighter than receipts. Paper is expensive and has to be shipped. You can just ship information is the best way to go. Ramp AI spend intelligence here, right? So they are just a massive AI powerhouse, and they take every single grain of time and thought that they have to continue to innovate and build. And that is why that I'm just happy to continue to invest in Robinhood Ventures Fund 1 until Ramp is, who knows, out of the fund altogether and they're public. And I'm not quite sure how that's going to work yet. Never done this kind of investment before, so we'll keep you posted on how it works when a company that is in there does go public. Now, if you're still here, thank you very much. If you're catching this later on in the week, I hope you're doing well whatever day you catch up on. Now, I'm going to do a really quick class. We'll keep it really simple. If you're new to trading, this is for you. If you're not new to trading, you can exit and come back in 2 minutes, maybe less. So if you're an investor and you want to get outside of just buying and selling stocks or ETFs or equities, right? You want to get a little bit more um, risky risk. I'm going to teach you about the very two simple types of options that are open level one for anybody trading Robinhood, with a couple of learning classes that you should probably just look into, right? But they're called puts and they're called, well, calls, right? Puts and calls. Calls and puts. Calls, simply naked, long calls, are um, something that's going to make money if the stock or ETF goes up. If you're buying a put, then you're hoping that the price comes down and you make money as the stock or ETF comes down. Puts come down, calls go up. Now, those are just long calls or like long puts, right? Just naked, open puts or calls. It gets more complicated if you're doing other things, but if you're buying a put or call, you're just either betting a call, your exposure will go up. If you're looking into more information on that, please feel free to check out literally any informational page you can. You can even check AI if you want to. But it's important that you double check the risk. Paper trade, right? You can still paper trade options as well. But that's my little mini class for you today. Please continue learning as often as you can. It's important for you. It's important for your brain. I strongly believe that mental health stems from how strong you can keep your mind and how challenged you can keep your mind. Not trauma challenged, like ambition, determination, that sort of thing really keeps the brain wrinkly, right? Creating more of those folds, more of those new neural links in your mind. So it's important that you continue to learn stuff. And I know for a fact that I learned all of these things about ramp or all of these other things about companies that come out and new technology that comes out, and my brain is sometimes a little bit like in buffering mode. But I'm determined to learn it because this stuff is so cutting edge, and this stuff is going to be here for the long haul. I don't see a future without this technology, honestly. It's going to help alleviate so many things. On a local stand front, so Ramp is an automated finance company, and they do a lot of automations. Like, I can't get into it. You're gonna have to go look on your own. I also have a post a while back on what Ramp does too. You can check that out as well. But the skinny is they automate all of your finances, and what that could do to, let's say, a struggling school. That simple thought experiment is why I want to kind of try to push it here in town, is because then that can save a lot of money and a lot of time for one of the administration departments that's really important. And who knows, maybe it could automate the ability to crowdsource more funding for the school, right? With an agent, they can write the perfect grant letter and put it out 10 of them a second, and crowdsource your funding for your school, right? This is something that people can really use and need, right? So I'm really looking forward to hopefully getting that out for public schools and the private schools, as mostly for public and charter schools, because the funding is better. But honestly, any school can take it. I'll take it to anybody because it's good for anybody who's looking for true automation on their finance side. Just look up Ramp or at TryRamp. Now, this is the first test run I've gotten of my Van Eck quilted vest, and I am loving it. It's so comfortable, and I feel so like fancy and like I'm sitting in an office in New York. I'm not, as you can tell, and if you could hear the mo'o outside, mo'o's gecko, or the spiritual gecko that we love here, not the traditional green one that you know. We have our own species that's connected to our heritage. That's a whole nother story. But I'm here at home in Hawaii. But dress for the job you want is something that I've always held close to my heart as a mantra. And this is the kind of thing that makes me feel more empowered as a trader. I don't know if that makes like a cape. If you were wearing like a towel cape as a kid, that's sort of what a good quality vest from a company that believes in me, believes in you, believes in the people who invest in their company, right? I'm just wholeheartedly happy here, and I will be just as happy in like an hour when I'm sweating my face off in this muggy, humid Hawaiian climate. But as we bring this pod to a close, I want you to really, really believe that wealth and prosperity is for you. You deserve it. We all deserve it. You got to work for it. You gotta go get it, right? There was a funny, it could be considered a joke, but um, you pray to God to win the lottery. You pray every day to win the lottery, and you get to heaven and you ask God. You're like, bro, why didn't you like let me win the lottery? And he looks down at you and he just kind of laughs and he's like, my child, you didn't buy a ticket. That's your dad joke for the day. But you got to buy the ticket. You got to go and pay to play. You got to try, right? A little bit goes a long way. Just do your very best. But with that being said, as always, farewell, a hui ho, stay safe, and I'll